Well, hello. This is episode 231 of the Fearless Launching podcast. Today, we're going to dive into some practical ways to protect your business. Yeah, we're getting legal here. And we're also going to talk about why it's something we often see as optional, but we really shouldn't be looking at it that way. My guest, Annette Stepanian, is a passionate attorney who specializes in legal insight and contract templates for entrepreneurs and creative small businesses. I worked with her years ago when she was just planning her first launch, and I am thrilled that over the years we've gotten to know each other. We've been in a mastermind together. We are friends. She comes to see her dad. We go to brunch. Anyway, so today's convo, I was so excited not only just to talk to her about launching legally, running your business with the law in mind and what the law is there to do and why it's so important, but I was eager to drag out some other topics from her because I know she has a lot of insights on a lot of different topics. And if you watch her on Instagram at all, Annette Stepanian, then you will know that I'm not just saying stuff. She's got a lot of other things besides the law going on. She talked about communicating with clients, setting boundaries, so much more. So I am thrilled to get into today's episode with you. Okay, so one more thing. Remember last week we did this. And I want to ask you to do it again. As you're going through today's episode, as you're listening, just look down at your phone if you're listening on your phone and screenshot your phone. Let us know you're listening. Let us know that you're listening to Annette and me. And if you tag me, I'm going to share your comment because I so appreciate that. This is just a little extra way to give my guests some love and to let them know that we so appreciate them coming on the show. All right, let's get into it. Hi, I'm Anne Samoilov, and I've helped some of the biggest online entrepreneurs and business owners have successful 6- and 7-figure product launches by working in the trenches offline to produce movies, TV shows, video games. I've discovered so many different ways to launch creative ideas. And the question is, do you have to copy what your guru says in order to have a successful launch? Do you have to use their done-for-you system in order to have success, in order to achieve your goals in business? I say no. This is the Fearless Launching Show featuring myself and an ongoing cast of characters, friends who join me in discussing business, launching, life, and balancing it all and having an amazing time doing it. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, Annette. How are you today?
I'm good, Anne. How are you?
Great. Well, I gave a little intro to who you are and that you're all things law, legal, but you've got so much more going on than that. I really believe that. I think you've got more gifts than that. And just FYI. So
thank you. I agree. Don't put me in a box.
Yeah, don't put me in a box. So Annette, I just want to thank you for coming today because really, you've been someone I've known for a long time. And when we were just chatting, I was like, oh, I kind of had thought you'd been on the podcast before, but it's just because you've done classes for Fearless Launching inside that community. And I just have known you for so long. And we worked together. We were just in a mastermind this past year together. So we got some history.
Yeah, I think I reached out to you when I was doing my first launch. And I was like, Anne, I need your help. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think that's when we started working together. And then we became friends after that. And it's lived happily ever after.
And we lived happily ever after. And here we are. So I think before we dive into anything, actually a good place to start would be like just to introduce yourself and what you do in the world.
What I do in the world. How much time do we have? No, I'm kidding. So
the mini series, Annette.
Yeah, this is part one. So me. I'm a lawyer for creatives and entrepreneurs, meaning that I really just want to help people get their legal stuff in order because it's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's so important and so essential. And I see so many people working so hard to build their dream businesses, but they sometimes kind of skip over things like legal and accounting and finance that really helps ground the business and set a solid foundation for it. So that's kind of what I do in my day job is I do one-on-one services with folks, whether it's contract drafting, trademark registration, consulting. And then I also own Your Legal BFF, which is online downloadable contract templates, trainings, really designed to make law really accessible, affordable, really industry specific for folks. Because one of the biggest complaints I hear is people want to work with a lawyer, but then they can't find a lawyer who understands what the heck they do, especially folks in this like online space. They're like
Yeah.
trying to explain funnels and Samcart, and most lawyers don't understand that yet. So it's really trying to bridge that gap between where, here's the law, this is what you need to know with kind of the state of the industry in terms of online business, and trying to give them the resources they need to do it successfully.
Okay, so because I actually don't even know if I know this, I was just thinking like, how did you get started in this? Like, did you obviously went to law school, that happened, but like, how did you decide to be a lawyer? Can I just ask that?
Yeah, there's no sexy story. Basically, I always just in my heart of hearts knew I wanted a graduate degree. I grew up in a family where both of my parents had masters. And so it was just kind of a given for me that after undergrad, I was going to go to some sort of graduate degree. And I had studied business at USC. And it just was one of those, well, like law seems like a really good practical foundational thing. I always thought like the combination of business and law would always give me a really good foundation. Even just in my personal life, I felt like, I don't know, this sounds really funny. And I've told the story before where I felt like if people knew I had this knowledge, they wouldn't take advantage of me, as a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, I want to equip myself with this knowledge and this education. And I was also just really intrigued by the like intellectual challenges of it. And knew it was going to be really rigorous and difficult. And I kind of wanted to see if I could do it. So that was my story. It was very
interesting. It's like a self-challenge.
Yeah.
Like you're like martial art, like a lawyer, like you're learning martial arts so that if you're like walking down the street, no one can, pummel you. You're learning law so that no one can take advantage of you. I love that.
Yeah. And I think in some ways I've reflected on that kind of that reasoning or that purpose as to why I do what I do today, because I almost want to equip the folks that I work with and the folks that come into my world with that same kind of confidence. I think sometimes when I work with clients, the law is the law and I help them with that. But so much of what I do is really empower them and give them the confidence to ask for what they want and to design the business in a way that works for them. So whether it's with a challenge they're having with a client or, just so much of it is the coaching that goes behind it that I didn't think I would do, but that I enjoy so much. And I kind of see that common thread now of like, oh, okay, that's kind of what I was trying to seek out in the law. And now I get to do that with my clients of like, no, this person can't take advantage of you. No, like, and this is how we're going to protect you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I really like that. I think that that's an interesting viewpoint too, because I do think just from listening to people as they're creating things and they're talking about legal agreements that they might need, like, oh, I need an affiliate disclaimer, or I need this, or I need that. But it often feels like they see it as an extra. Like it's not really like a thing. Whereas like, no, it is the thing, and maybe you'll stop playing business if you set up your business like a business.
Yeah. And that's why when I work with people for custom contract drafting, and even in my templates, I walk people through a process of, it's not just like, here's a template, go do what you want. You get the template, you get all this video training, but there are steps before that I've taken from the time that I work with my one-on-one clients, and I brought it to the online space to teach people about how to strategically think about and structure their business. And then once you have those answers, then we just put it into the contract. But you have to make some decisions up front about how you want things to run, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I think when people think of these contracts and these terms as an afterthought or just another to-do list item, or they're copying and pasting from other samples they find on the internet, they're really robbing themselves of that opportunity to really take ownership of their business and to architect it. And it's cool when I get to work one-on-one with people because we get to do that. And I get to really kind of push people like, well, why are you doing it this way? Like, why are you charging it? Why are you only collecting a payment up front and a payment at the end? Does that work for you? Maybe we should think about doing something different. And it's everybody has their journey.
Yes.
Some people, are really good at upfront. They really want to take things and do things kind of the quote unquote right way and get all their legal ducks in a row. Yeah. But other people learn the hard way when, they have a few close calls.
How do you deal with that though? Do you find that a lot of people come to you when things are breaking down too? You know what I mean? Like, because you typically think of a lawyer who's going to deal with a situation that kind of already exists and something happens. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I've been fortunate in the sense that people usually come to me. I would say the majority, it's when their business is at a point where they feel like they have too much to lose. It starts to not feel like a hobby anymore, either because they're making a lot of money, or even if they're not making a lot of money, like they've really committed to this as their business, and they realize that this is an asset that is worth protecting, and they don't mind spending a little bit of money to get that done right. Yeah. So I've been fortunate that I would say the majority have been like, okay, I knew I've been kind of swinging by the seat of my pants or flying by the seat of my pants, whatever that expression is. I suck at expressions, by the way. I don't know. I always mess them up.
Fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact. What is the expression? Is it flying by the seat of my pants?
I think that's it.
Right? I said swinging, but that's what you can swing by the seat of your pants, right?
I just got a mental image that was.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
This is going to make it an explicit episode on iTunes. So I find that a lot of people will come to me like, oh my gosh, I've been kind of just figuring it out. I'm so lucky nothing's really blown up in my face yet, but I know I've been buying time. Yeah. And, you have a few people who have a bad situation and are like have had enough close calls where they're like, okay, it's time, to really get this fixed.
Now, I have a question for you. I'm curious if, because you obviously are in the mode of like setting people up so they're protected, for those things that may happen. Do you find that you actually have to market to kind of like I've seen there are some folks online who are teaching, systems and business and things that like, again, in this same kind of world for some people, they market using kind of fear. So they're like, someone's going to steal your ideas. Someone's going to be able to rip you off. Do you find that you have to do that to mobilize people at all?
I've been told by some pretty big people that to do that, to kind of tap into that. It's kind of like getting a security alarm, like, oh, the burglar is going to come and, steal your stuff. And it's not and maybe I should do it. Maybe I'd be more effective in marketing, but it's not, it doesn't feel good to me to do those scare tactics. Yeah. I think I try and create a balance where I say, I try and take a more empowering approach. Like, this is like I said, like your business is an asset. Like you want to protect it just as you would get, insurance for your car or insurance for your house or whatever. And then I do mention, kind of close call situations or situations of where problems might come up, or try and demonstrate examples of problems. Cause I think it's hard for people for it to feel tangible. So I do try and say like, oh, like the example you gave, like, could you imagine like you've worked on this thing and somebody comes and steals your content? Like, what do you do in a situation like that? But I'm not a doom and gloom type of person, or I try not to be. So it doesn't feel good to me to do that in my marketing. So I that's not my MO.
No, that's good. That's good. And I understand that challenge because sometimes that's the only thing that mobilizes. It makes people like really take it seriously or maybe, but I like that the way that you can express it, I don't think has to be doom and gloom for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you then about, did you ever, I want to go back to like your history, the history of Annette, book one, part one. I'm thinking this is like a Monty Python thing. Part one, birth. Um, oh God.
I come out of, I know this is totally going to be an explicit episode.
I swear I'm not swearing. Even though I generally bring that out in people for some reason. They're like,
Oh
what's going on
God.
here? I'm saying the F word like crazy. I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not like that. No, of course, that's not true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm just curious, did you work in a law firm or law
I did.
firms, or how long did you do that?
So during law school, I did my different externships and things like that, which they're basically internships. But then after law school, I was really lucky. I got a job out here in San Francisco at a national law firm. And I was really, really lucky because as soon as I got my job, the economy just like what tanked. And I was doing litigation for about 6 years. Did a lot of different things, but I was primarily assigned to the products liability group. So we did a lot of, this is probably really boring, but
No, I'm curious. I'm really curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of pharmaceutical and medical device defense litigation. So we were responsible. So let's say we had a client who makes like a drug or a medical device. And those like late night commercials you see about like, did you take this drug and grow a third arm? Or like, whatever, grow a third eye or something.
I'm sorry. That's so
We
funny.
were on the defense side of that. So we got to kind of we were counsel for litigation all across the country. So like thousands and thousands of cases with thousands and thousands of plaintiffs. So it's actually a really, really fascinating like field, just litigation of it in and of its own, but then just like the pharmaceutical side of it. It was really interesting. I learned a lot. And so I did that for about 6 years. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore because I was like, I don't want to be a partner in a law firm because I looked around and I felt like it wasn't going to give me the life that I wanted, which for me was really important to have time I wanted to raise my own kids. I wanted to have that flexibility. And I felt, whether right or wrong, that was going to come at that cost. Yeah. So I was like, well, if I don't want to be a partner, why am I here? Like, because that's the end goal. So I decided to quit, which was super scary. And then I took some time off, started a jewelry line. Totally.
See, I feel like I kind of knew that, but I kind of didn't know that. Yeah. I remember, I'm reminded of our coaching session a long time ago. And I think you shared that with me, but I forgot completely.
Yeah. It feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I started a jewelry line because I was like, I don't want to do anything with the law. I just want to like make pretty things and like, just make people happy all the time instead of like fighting all the time. And so I did that for a few years, and that was a really interesting experience in the sense of like, you're kind of getting your MBA by yourself. You're learning all these things. And that's really when I got introduced to the online world. I signed up for B School, and I think that's how I heard your name. So I started kind of seeing like, oh, there's this whole other world out here. And I'd never really been on social media before because as a lawyer, you kind of try and like hide from all of that stuff. And so, it was just this whole new world. And it was like, my mind was just like exploding every day. Like, oh my God, you could do all these things.
Did you go into B School then kind of with the thought that you were going to be growing your jewelry business?
I actually hadn't even decided on a business. So it was
okay. So it was before the jewelry you got into B School.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to, so I was kind of doing the exercises with that in mind. But it wasn't really like established yet where I was like, okay, I'm doing it now. I want to improve it. So let me take B School. It was just like, let me educate myself what is this whole online business situation? Yeah. And like, what's going on here? People are like selling things over the internet.
What's happening?
Yeah. Because up until that point, I mean, and I don't know if any lawyers are listening to this, but they would probably agree that like you really live under a rock when you're in a law firm because you're so consumed with your day-to-day work that there isn't time for you to like open your blinders and see what's going on in the rest of the world. And I just remember being like amazed, like, oh my gosh, like that could be a job. Like, wait, people make money doing this? Like it opened up my eyes in such a profound way. And it was really exciting. It was kind of like this like renaissance for me, like, oh, I get to play. And
I felt the same way when I started discovering the online world. I was like, I don't know, I guess the word is voracious. I was like so obsessed. I needed to learn everything.
I feel like we're still kind of like that though.
I'm calmed down, but yeah, a little bit. Like we like tell ourselves, I probably don't need this, but
Yeah. Yeah. But it's kind of like this weird, like addictive thing because technology is such a big like driver in this industry, obviously, because and it changes so quickly and you could do so much. I mean, even like we met what, 2015-ish? Like
yeah.
think about it, in the last 4 years, like it was before Periscope, it was before Instagram
Yeah.
stories.
Periscope. I'm sorry. Sometimes when I mention that now, I actually feel shy. Like people are like,
It's like being like,
if it's like I'm
myself.
mentioning 8-track tapes or something, which is if my mom, that was like my mom and might have been listening to that. I never had 8 tracks myself, but
Like dial up, you know?
you had a phone that plugged into the wall. What's wrong with you?
I miss those days sommes, like
Oh,
no caller
goodness.
ID. Yeah. I do
Seriously.
reminisce about those days.
So you were just, so when did the shift happen when you said, okay, maybe I'm going to, take this law thing online?
Yeah, so I've been doing the jewelry, and during that time, I've been working with a lot of folks, and just like meeting more and more people, like and in this space. And I realized, like every time, like I would get a contract, I'm like, oh my god, this girl needs help, or like people would come to me and say, like, you really need to do this like legal thing, kind of like for the creative space because you
Yeah.
understand kind of creatives, you understand the industry, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then I don't know. I think after doing the jewelry for a while, I realized it really wasn't for me as a business because it required a certain set of skills that I just didn't enjoy. Like I didn't enjoy going to trade shows and standing there and selling my jewelry. Like it just was not. It's like I can't see myself doing this forever.
See, now
but
I understand why we were in that jewelry store in Glendale the other day. And like some of the comments you made, I was like,
yeah.
how does she know about this stuff?
I was like, oh my god, they're charging $90 for this. It costs them like $6 to make.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
like, is
goodness.
this gold dipped or?
Yeah, is this gold tip? What's here?
Yeah,
You knew all. You were like, let's get to the bottom of this.
yeah. I know it's so hard buying jewelry now because I know like the cost that actually like goes into making it, and it's just like I can't justify it. Sometimes I feel so guilty. But anyway.
And you should be proud of yourself. You did put back, the items that you were picking up in the various places we went to.
Thank you.
Yay.
But then I went to Anthropologie and I bought a headband for like $20.
Okay. Well, what can you
Which
say?
I've worn like once. But
it's only been a week.
yeah, that's true.
Give it time. Okay. All right. Back on track. I swear.
So anyway, so I just realized, and I really miss kind of the like intellectual challenges of the law and like all of that stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And so I just did it. I don't know. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan. I just made a page on Squarespace. I knew people needed templates. I knew that would be a nice way to bridge the gap between like people. There are people who actually want to do the right thing, but maybe don't have the money for it. So I, started drafting contract templates, put them up, and there you go. It just kind of snowballed from there. I mean, it wasn't like this massive, like I didn't do like a huge business plan. I didn't, do all this like strategy. It was kind of like I finally like merged these two worlds together.
Got it. So you really have like a library of things people can go to and figure out what they need. I know that because I've seen your site before. You just drop down and you figure out, generally what your business is, and then you show them what potential things that they might need.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question is, now did you have like a big launch or anything like that? Or do you feel like you did, or no?
No, honestly, sorry. Not to like, I mean, basically.
No, I'm not looking at her with like bug eyes right now. I'm like, how dare you not launch?
I feel like I've done everything the wrong way. Not the wrong way, but not the right way,
Yeah.
But I just did it. And I almost sometimes want to go back to the way I used to do things because I think when you're so like, when you don't know, you're just so much more open to like reaching out to people, trying things, like experimenting. And then when you kind of get comfortable or you get in this routine, you get a little bit more limited in what you're doing in terms of like, I don't know, you lose your creativity a little bit. And so, yeah, I think at the time I just reached out to people who I thought who would have audiences that would need what I needed.
Yeah.
And then just introduce myself and then just kind of let that kind of snowball, from
Yeah.
there. I mean, there was no big launch. I don't even think I had an Instagram.
But
Like,
there are some things that I just feel like, especially if they're going to be available and people can get them, hire you, buy the thing. If it's going to be all the time, then I don't think you need like a launch. I feel like you could probably from time to time just reach out to a new little inner circle of people and say, hey, so maybe they're more internal for you. Like, okay, every quarter I'm going to have my little new batch of people that I reach out to reach, leverage
yeah.
their audiences. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it really was like that. It was a little bit, I was more diligent about it in the beginning because like nobody really knew me. And then or the people who knew me with the jewelry. And so it was just, yeah, it was really just, I want to say grassroots.
I love that.
In that sense.
I love that. I
Yeah.
personally do love that. So how has it been like now? Like you're really in the same field, but obviously, I mean, I feel like I'm answering my own question just by asking, but, I mean, how does it feel to you now based on how it was when you were in litigation and now? Like, do you like the different? I mean, how is it different for you? Because it's
Oh,
still
it's
the
super
law.
different. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's super different. I don't
Yeah.
have billable hours, which means if you guys don't know what billable hours are, that most lawyers bill their time every at 6-minute increments, which kind of drives you crazy because at a certain point you start tracking everything in 6 minutes. So like if a secretary would come into my office, I was like, oh my God, that was point 0.2 billable hours that I just wasted. Or like if I was on the treadmill, I was like, okay, I did 4
Oh
billable
my
hours of
God.
like running. It's like disgusting. So that's great. I don't do that because it kind of puts this pressure on doing things really quickly or to do things caught like what's the word or actually doing it kind of like stretching it out so you can bill more because you have all these billable hours that you have
Yeah.
to meet. And so this way I put in the time that needs to be put in. And I charge mostly for most of my work flat fees, which is great for me and great for the client because they
Yeah.
know what to expect. And I like don't feel this pressure of like, oh my God, I gotta like do it so quickly and
Yeah.
to save the client money. Um, that's one thing. But more importantly, I think litigation is there's so much more conflict and it's so much more based on like the problem has already happened. It's like the conflict has already taken
Yeah.
place and you're there to kind of clean it up or to minimize the impact of it. Which
Yeah.
is really helpful to have that experience because now when I advise clients, I see what it is at the end of the
Right.
story,
Right.
right? And so I can say like, okay, let's work our way back and like take the steps so we avoid all of that or minimize the impact of any of that. Um, and so my point being that what I do now is so much more constructive
Yeah.
and that's so much more exciting for me. And obviously the clients are very different. I'm not working for like, you know, global pharmaceutical companies. I'm
So you're
working
actually
for
working with human
a
beings that feels
human.
more personal.
And it's like it impacts their life, like
Yeah.
when they get a trademark registration, like they're so excited. It's like this like big thing, or when they register LLC, it's like graduation for them, and
Oh,
it's
that's
that's
awesome.
exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So there's a different level of connection versus working with, other lawyers essentially. They both have their pros and cons. Like
Yeah.
it's nice getting a consistent paycheck and benefits and stuff when you're at
Yeah.
a law firm.
Yeah. But then
But
you have to deal with like the heaviness and being buried and like all the hours, like you said, like that would
yeah,
drive me nuts. And like in a weird way, I wouldn't be able to stop. Like my life would become billable hours. Like
yeah.
I just spent billable minutes at my fridge.
Deciding what to make for dinner tonight.
That was a waste of my time. Um,
Let's
um,
see. Yeah.
so I have okay, so here's what I want to know. Like because I just was thinking, I'm like, I wonder how do you work when people come to you? Let's say, I mean, I'm going to assume that course creators, some coaches come to you. I mean, those are two different types of businesses. Those are a lot of people who listen to
Yeah.
this show.
I also get service providers. So people who are, wedding planners or, I don't know, graphic designers.
Yeah.
Consulting, marketing consulting. Yeah.
So what is like very generally, you don't have to obviously go into detail, but like what is the process of like you working with them? So does anybody ever come to you going, hey, this is the type of business I have. I don't know what I need. Do you just kind of just say, well, tell me your business? And like, do you just kind of talk to them about their business and then say, you probably need this, 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 and this? Is that what you do?
I've tried to, through my website, I've tried to provide a lot of resources for people to educate themselves. So if you go on my website right now, there's the 5 essential legal ingredients for like a solid business. And so there's a lot of great information on there just to add, because sometimes people mix up the words. Like they're like, I want to copyright my business name. And it's like, well, that's not the right word. It's trademarking. And so I'm trying to educate them, which is fine. I mean, they didn't go to law school, like whatever, it's
That's
okay.
fine.
No judgment there, but I'm just saying I try and educate them a lot through the content on my website, through the podcast, so that they're prepared to, whether it's me or another lawyer, that's one of my goals is I want them to be able to have an intelligent conversation with a lawyer and not feel like a deer caught in the headlights.
And protect, like you're doing another level of protecting them even before they've decided to kind of work with anybody.
Yeah. Because I don't want them to feel like, oh, I'm at the mercy of this like person,
Yeah, for sure.
And so I wanted them to be an informed consumer essentially. And so for the most part, by the time people contact me, they'll say like, oh, I know I need a contract or I need terms of service or I need to trademark. Every once in a while, someone might be like, I don't know what I need. And then I have sessions for that where I can walk them through, we can go through and I can answer their questions. I basically give them like all this knowledge in like an hour, so saving them tons of time and money. So it really varies, but I find that most of the people who reach out to me already have an inkling of like, this is kind of what I need. And then I can help guide them based on, their business and where they're at, what their budget is and things like that as to what their options might be.
Do you find that, actually not do you find, but like, I'm going to have to get that resource that you mentioned, link to that. And
just
also
my homepage.
And I know that there is just like a simple, like, what's your business drop down menu. And then it just populates and it shows you exactly what you likely need.
That's for the template. So that's on your legal BFF. So I wanted to make that super easy. Yeah. So we spent a lot of time with the website developer developing just a really cool, I think, quiz, an interactive quiz to say like, okay, this is like what I do. This is how long I've been in business. And you answer like another, like I think 2 or 3 questions and it'll just spit out a list of all the potential contracts you might need. Yeah. Obviously you don't need to get all of them all at once, but it kind of gives you a nice checklist of like, oh, do I need this? Do I need this or not? So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So the thing that I wanted to ask you is like, do you have any pet peeves when people do come to you and they're not as educated or when they think they are maybe?
One of the things that is a pet peeve, I don't mind that if you aren't educated. I don't mind that if that sounded really bad.
But like you haven't like done any homework on it.
Yeah,
if you come in blind, like kind of,
Like I'm cool with that as long as you have an inkling of like, I know this is an issue and I need to get it fixed, and you might be the right person. Like I can work with you. If for me, it's the people who just want to pick your brain, and like just are always like. And I feel like I'm pretty generous with like my time and my advice, but I think people sometimes forget that what I have is a skill set that's kind of intangible. And so sometimes, and this is true of anybody who's like a subject matter expert, right? So if maybe you're an SEO person and people are like, I just have a really quick question.
My brain is my product.
Yes. And so that's always tricky for me because I want to help people and I want to set them in the right direction. But there's also legal reasons why I can't always do that. I can't just like give anybody advice because I need to know the whole picture. And if you just give me like one paragraph of your contract and ask me to interpret it, I can't because I have to read the whole contract because other parts of the contract impact that like one paragraph. So that's kind of a pet peeve because I feel like it puts me in a situation where I have to say no or not give them the answer they want without saying like, well, I
Mm-hmm.
have to charge you for it, which then makes me look like all I want is just to charge you. But it's like, no, I really can't because I need to understand the context, or I might need to go do some research on this
Right.
issue. And that's my time, that I could be
Right.
spending on work that someone is paying me for. So that's, I
Yeah.
think, a pet peeve. And for anybody who like you might be reaching out to, just kind of be respectful of the time that they've spent, the education that they've put in, and just, like kind of know that line.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a hard line to know, but I find that I even want to pay and, compensate the people that are my friends. Like I'm like, that's like, for me now that I've been on the side of like people full on asking in a DM, somebody I haven't talked to in like 10 years, 20, 15 years maybe, can I pick your brain? I'm like, actually,
For
no, you
me.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm cool like with friends and stuff. And I like what I do is like I always will, because I tend to work with people who I have a friendly relationship with because there's a
Yeah.
level of trust there. And so I try and be very cognizant of that. So I'll say like,
Yeah.
hey, I have a question. Let me know if like you need to charge me for this. Like feel
Yeah,
free to charge
for
me for
sure.
this.
For
And,
sure.
most of the time I don't, but I find that appreciate that when it's like for me because they're acknowledging like, hey, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your expertise, and I'm willing to pay for it.
I respect
Um,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've had people like, I answer their question. They were friends, and they'd like send me like a Starbucks gift card, which was like totally nice. Like I wasn't even expecting that,
Yeah.
but it was just a nice gesture.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the thing is just be respectful of people's time and expertise.
Do you have a difficulty? Is there, I don't know why this was a question that I knew I wanted to ask you, but it feels like it's coming up now. Like, do you have a hard time, like I think with especially online and like online businesses and maybe people once you get to know them online, there's like this, like people aren't calling law offices
Yeah.
expecting all that information, but because you're an individual. So how do you like balance that kind of like, I'm a lawyer, I'm pro here. And I'm also, like there is like that, remember we were talking about the whole identity piece. It kind of comes up here because if you're too friendly down, then people really think they can reach out to you. So is there like a balance there for you?
Yeah, it's tough because I do want to make the law approachable, which then I want to make myself approachable. And it's my personality. I think I'm a pretty approachable person. And I relate to people very easily. So, yeah, there is this line of like, well, and hello, one of my companies is called Your Legal BFF, right? So,
Right.
with your best friend, it's like you can call them anytime and ask a question. So, I want to create that open door,
Yeah.
but then create that line of, hey, like at a certain point, like I'm going to have to start charging, or this is like a service. And so
Yeah.
I try and communicate that with, my email communications to people if they're like contacting me, or just like my policies about things. Like if you buy a template, like that doesn't include any consultation with me,
Yeah,
Like, if you
exactly.
want that, if I can help you, that's extra, or like go find another lawyer who can help you. So yeah, I think it's just about communication. And
Yeah.
then also for me, I think in the beginning I was much more, it was harder for me to say no. Like I really wanted to please everybody all the time. And like I look back on like even just what I charged at the beginning for some of my services. I was like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And I think it's just it's a normal thing that I see a lot of people do is because in the beginning you don't have the confidence that like what you're bringing to the table is valuable and people are willing
Mm-hmm.
to pay for. And then as you kind of grow and as you get more and more experience, you're like, okay, no, I have something here that is valuable. And so you get more comfortable in drawing those boundaries, saying no,
Yeah.
asking like, hey, I'm happy to answer this, but this would be we'd have to book a consultation at this point, and this is the fee.
Yeah.
And some people don't, if they can't do it, they can't do it. Like I don't take it personally anymore. Where it's like before, I think when it's a business where it's like you're the face of it, you kind of feel like people, if they don't book with you, they're somehow rejecting you. I don't feel that way anymore.
I'm able to like compartmentalize. And even though I see that Anne, it's not me almost. It is, but it isn't. Like I have to separate it
Yeah.
in order to
Yeah.
not get offended.
For me, I don't get offended anymore. For me, I actually get frustrated because I see the mistake they're making. I was just telling my husband, I had like two lead call situations, and I could just see the mistakes that they were making. And I was like, it's like you see someone like about to like jump off a cliff and you're like, please don't take that extra step. And they're just like so caught in their like excuses, you know? And so I get frustrated. And I was telling my husband, I was like, you know, it's not even that I didn't get the client in that situation that bothered me. It really didn't, because like it's fine. It just was that like I was trying to help this person and they're just like they just were not in a position to like hear what I was saying. And that was frustrating to me because I could see kind of the writing on the wall. And so that's what gets me frustrated these days. But I think I'll probably get over that too soon.
I mean, because you can't take, you know, you can only, I mean, that's a little codependent. That's a little tiny bit, I think. Right?
Is
when
it?
you're like, maybe it's not codependent. Maybe it's like, what is it called? I don't know. But I know you can see what they need, and there's only so much you can do to show them that you can help them with that thing that they need and want, and they came to you to get some information about, and you're just like, oh well.
Yeah. And so I'm much better at
it's so that you can't save everybody.
Yeah, it's not that I want to save them. It's just like just want to shake them. Like, come on.
Are you trying to shake me? Just kidding.
Just shake them and be like, come on. You know what's good for you. But it's it's funny because I had a call this week where it kind of started off that way, and then the person like realized it on like her own and like came back. And so because I took a very like, whatever you want, like if that's your decision, awesome. Like I'm here when you're ready to, help. And then like you need the help. And then they just like within a day, they were like, okay, I see the light.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. And so sometimes that's what you just have to do. It's like,
I think it's a good lesson too for sales for you to be thinking like, oh, this person was here. Maybe what you can do is ask them once you guys start working together, you can ask them just like, hey, what got you to that point where you were ready to make that decision? Because maybe that would help you.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not a big salesy person. I think like when I do these like consults and stuff, I'm a very like, hey, like, let me know when you're ready. Like, I'm not a closer in that sense,
I am definitely not a closer.
Because I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like if you need it, you need it. And I think a lot of people who come to me are just at a point where they're ready. And that's the
Your dogs are done.
I know. I'm sorry. I was like, I hope you
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I'm surprised my cat has not come out here yowling with something in her mouth because she's like a dog herself. She meows.
I think we got an Amazon delivery or something, and that's why they're barking.
They're going nuts on the Amazon person. That's funny.
They're like the nicest dogs, but for some reason when you approach the door, they're like, aliens are coming.
Aliens are actually here outside that door. I'm pretty sure of it. So Annette, what is the best way? What are the ways that we can connect with you? Like yourlegalbff.com.
Yeah, that's where you can go and get all the contract templates, the trainings. There's a lot of great resources on there. Then you can also head to my main website, which is AnnetteStepanian.com. Ding. And then, and that's where you can learn all about my one-on-one services. It also links out to the contract templates. You can also find me on Instagram. I mostly hang out on Instagram under the same name, Annette Stepanian.
Yeah. And she doesn't just talk about legal stuff. She talks about really cool, like she has really other great productivity topics. I always like those that when you talk about those, when you do
I should do that again.
You should. Yeah. I love that so much.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that everyone who's listening knows that their first step now is to go and educate themselves a little bit. You definitely want to check out the Your Legal BFF site, because that actually just going through that quiz itself it's like so easy, and you learn so much. You're like, oh yeah, and it will be obvious when you see the things that come up. You'll be like, yeah, I do need that.
Yeah. I also actually have another quiz at the bottom of the page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it's called Are Your Contracts Up to Snuff? So if you do have a contract, you could just, it's just like, I think 10 questions or something.
Yeah.
Super easy. And it gives you kind of a score. It's kind of like a BuzzFeed.
Oh, that's really cool. That's
cool. And then that'll just kind of give you a sense of like, oh, this is how you're doing. These are things you might want to work on. And then I also have a master class that you can sign up for. And that is at yourlegalbff.com. Well, I should probably give you the handle. I don't remember it. I think it's shop.yourlegalbff.com /masterclass-1. Not a sexy URL, but
I will put it in the show notes. So don't you worry. Just look in your podcast app or go over to the blog and you'll see it there.
Or if you go to my Instagram and you go in my highlights, you can sign up for it too.
There you go. She's got you covered. Annette has you covered. She wants you to protect she wants to protect you, and she wants you to protect your business.
Yeah. Why not? You're working so hard.
Come on now.
Life. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm shaking you.
I want to ask you one final question. This is totally random. Actually two. One is what one thing in your business are you really excited about right now? Is there something coming up that you're working on or that you're excited about?
So I am doing a lot more video content, which is kind of a new medium for me. I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm pushing myself to do it.
Nice.
And so I'm really excited about that. The podcast kind of went on hiatus for a few months. And so I'm bringing all of that back and excited to just be creating new content. That was the first question, right?
Yes. The first question. The second question is, what is your pastime that's kind of something that people wouldn't expect that you like to do? Is there anything? Is there a TV show that's really weird that you like? Do you like Suits? Just kidding.
I watched the first season or two, I think right before Megan came
I'm a
on.
Suits freak.
Really?
Because I love Harvey. Right? Oh my God. Harvey, you listening out there? Gabriel Macht. I love you.
Give me a call.
I love you, dude.
Is it still on?
Oh yeah. The last season is starting next week, sister.
Okay. I might have to pick that up because I'm out of TV shows. I think the only thing my husband and I can watch right now is America's Got Talent. That's the only thing. And it's once a week. And I'm there's 6 nights a week. We're we have nothing to watch. And so I'm watching oh, this is really bad. I'm on I've been watching Frasier. I think this is my 5th time watching the entire season of Frasier.
That's the best one ever. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I like Frasier. I like my Golden Girls. And yeah. So but something that people might not know, I really love to organize and spring clean.
Oh my gosh. Well, that actually doesn't surprise me. You seem you seem very organized and spring cleanery.
But not to the point where it's I can't have it be messy, but I don't like a lot of stuff. So if anybody has a lot of clutter in their house and wants to get rid of it, call me. I will be more than happy to come and clear the clutter.
Okay, so I need to tell you that I have a storage unit.
Oh my God. Invite me.
That is in desperate need of separation.
I will bring my label maker.
I actually do need help. It is ridiculous.
I might offer that as a new service. Honestly, when I drive by people's houses and their garage doors are open and you can't even walk into the garage, I want no judgment. But I'm kind of judging you because I really want to come and help you.
Meet me at Public Storage in Studio City, and we'll go to work.
Girl, it's the
next time you're down in Glendale, I'll be like, "Hey, you want to have lunch?" Oh, say Ventura and Laurel Grove, or I don't know what street it's
wherever
on.
you are.
That's not the street it's on. Yeah,
I will be there. It's the best feeling because I like last kind of bit. In San Francisco, I lived in a studio apartment for like 5 years, and I never thought I'd be able to live in such a small space, but it was actually so liberating because you realize you really don't need a lot of stuff. And I
You
think that
don't.
experience, I've just carried it through. And now we live in a house, we have a lot of more space, but we kind of live like, people are like, how long have you lived here? Because it's so sparse.
Oh yeah, we don't decorate. I have maybe a few things on walls that I've just added this year, but
Yeah.
we are so empty. People are like, what's
Yeah,
going
you
on?
need a white space. I think it helps clear your mind. So you can, I mean, look at Kim and Kanye's house. It's like
Oh, I
so
love their house so
sterile. And
much.
I think
I'm
it must be
obsessed.
because they're so bombarded all the time with like ideas and work and whatever, that you want to get into a place that feels like sparse and clean
For
and
sure.
open. Anyway, I
Okay,
digress.
so we'll make that date at a separate time. But Annette, thanks for popping on here. And I hope that everyone reaches out to Annette, checks out her website, and starts really taking care of your business right now.
Thanks, Anne, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Ooh, okay, so now don't just listen to this and think, yeah, that's a great idea. That Annette, she is smart. She is so smart. I really need to do that. I need to call her up. Or you know what? I need to go to her website. Whatever the case is, I need to get my affiliate program terms. I need my disclaimers. I need my terms of service. Whatever it is. No, just actually do it. Okay? I hope you head over to yourlegalbff.com and do the quiz to find out which contracts and agreements your business might need. It's a great place to start. And you can also head over to the show notes where we'll have like a full list of things that we talked about. We covered with Annette. She gave us a bunch of links. So those will be there at annesamoilov.com/231. And I cannot wait. I legit can't wait for you to get started. I can't wait because I've already gotten started on a lot of things, but there's always room for improvement. Okay. So again, thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you had any thoughts, ahas, make sure to screenshot this episode and let Annette, you listen to her and what you learned. All right. Okay. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next Thursday.